Let's talk some Ohio State Buckeye recruiting, and we're going straight to the transfer portal. It's an interesting offseason. It's an interesting portal window because Ohio State is prepping for a playoff game, but at the same time, they're recruiting the portal. So I'm bringing on Alex Gleitman from Letterman Row. We're going to figure out what Ohio State's strategy is for this portal window. But first, smash that subscribe button. All right, let's bring in Alex Gleitman. So what is Ohio State's strategy for the portal this cycle? Is there any impact? Is it impacted by the prep for the playoffs at all?
I think, look, obviously there's an advantage for the teams not playing in the playoffs. They have a little bit more time on their hands and things of that nature. But at the same time, if you gave any staff in America a pick on whether they'd be choosing to prepare for the playoffs or choosing to put all their efforts into recruiting the portal, I think we know which one they'd pick. It hasn't affected them. I think, they've hosted guys over this past weekend. They have guys visiting this week. They hosted them late last week. It's just like any week throughout the season where, you're preparing for a game, but you still have to focus on recruiting. And it's the same here. I think everyone would agree that the portal window isn't ideal for the players. It's not ideal for the coaches and the programs. It's not ideal for anyone, but it is what it is. And Ohio State, while they're trying to finish out this current season strong with a national championship, they have to look ahead to next year. And there's certainly a lot of needs that they need to address, mainly in the trenches, specifically more so than anything on the offensive line. And that's where a lot of their focus is so far early in the portal season. But there are a few other positions that we'll certainly talk about today that they are focused on trying to improve their team and what their roster looks like as of now for the 2025 campaign.
Yeah, and running back's one of them. And this weekend, Quentin Joyner was on campus, and then Pete Nakos broke the big news that Justice Haynes could visit. So how many running backs is Ohio State looking to take, and what's the word on these two?
Yeah, I think they're looking to take one. I was told one is the number. I asked if they would take both Haynes and Joyner if both wanted in. The answer was no, we'd probably only go with one of them, and likely probably would only be able to convince one to come. But Ohio State is very much likely going to lose Quinshon Judkins next year to the NFL draft. They are going to lose Travion Henderson. That leaves them with James Peoples and Sam Williams-Dixon. From this year, they also have three guys coming in. Two of them are coming off knee injuries, though, and one is Anthony Turbo Rogers, who is not necessarily an every down back. He's more of a change of pace, put him in the slot, do some kind of motion things with him as well. And not to mention he's a freshman. So I think they're looking for someone with a little bit more experience, kind of like they brought in Quinshon Judkins last year to kind of be the 1B to Travion Henderson's 1A. I think they're looking at James Peoples as being one of those top two backs and bringing in one of the two that you mentioned as kind of that teammate who can help shoulder the load, especially in a longer season with the expanded college football playoff. But I think Ohio State is in solid position with both of those guys. I would say a little bit better with Joyner, given that he visited. Haynes still doesn't have the visit scheduled yet, but Ohio State certainly feels confident that they would and could and will have a shot with Justice Haynes if they push there.
Yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned offensive line is a need for Ohio State. It's a need all around the country. Trust me. Everybody's hitting the portal for offensive linemen this weekend. Rice offensive lineman Ethan Anianwa was on campus. Hopefully I said that right. And a new offer out to Cal Poly offensive lineman Brady Norton. So what's the latest developments at the position? Should Ohio State fans panic yet? And how many overall offensive linemen do you think they'll try to pull out of the portal?
Yeah, definitely not time to panic yet. I think they're going to end up just fine. I think they're going to get both numbers and quality. I think that the interesting thing about Ohio State is that, and Ryan Day said it on National Signing Day, they haven't been good enough in recruiting the quantity of players that they need on the offensive line out of the high school ranks. And so they're going to go into the portal not just to get help for next year where they lose Josh Simmons to the NFL, could very likely be a first-round pick in the NFL draft after declaring. They're going to lose Josh Fryer, their right tackle. So both tackles, Donovan Jackson, the left guard, can be probably not a day one, but very likely could be a day two pick. Seth McLaughlin, who just won the Remington Award. So they might be looking at losing 4 starters on the offensive line. They absolutely need to get help to fill that, but they also need to get depth. So they might look at some younger guys with 2-3 years left of eligibility to kind of look to step into roles in 2026, 2027, maybe even 2028, but they're also going to look for guys who could step in at 2025. And so they hosted Josh Thompson from Northwestern over the weekend. Obviously, the two names you mentioned, Isaiah World out of Nevada, coming off a Texas A&M visit, is supposed to be at Ohio State at some point this week. Those are just four names. Trust me, Ohio State, kind of like Onyanwa, that was kind of a secret visit. Not a secret, but it wasn't a public visit, I guess, if you will. Spencer Holbrook from Letterman Road did a great job of breaking that story early on Monday that he visited Ohio State this weekend after visiting Iowa. They're trying to move in silence a little bit, I think, as to not kind of lead others on to what they're doing. So I would expect Ohio State to maybe net out with as many as 5 offensive linemen in the portal between younger guys and guys ready to play right away. But I think on the low end, they're probably looking at bringing in 3 via the portal this year.
Okay, so are we looking at maybe double digits in terms of additions from the portal overall? And then also, besides offensive line and running back, what are the other positions you think Ohio State must fill? It's Picksmas season. That's right. We're talking Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks, and this week I want to tell you about some December promos. How about 1,000x payouts? The game just changed with your lineups at Prize Picks. You now have the ability to win up to 1,000 times your money, the highest payout level ever offered at Prize Picks, and that's available now. Also, 5 and 6 pick power plays. You already know the 2, 3, and 4 pick power plays, but let us introduce you to the next level. Now you can craft power plays with up to 6 player projections involved live on the board. It's now, so go take advantage of that. And really, all of December means promos. It's the season of giving, and we only know one way to celebrate that here at Prize Picks: Picksmas. So follow along with us the holiday season for free picks, discounts, free lineups, and more coming at you all month long. So we got the playoffs coming up for college football. NFL football is booming. It's a great time to up your Prize Picks game. Here's what we're going to do. Go to prizepicks.com/inside scoop. Use promo code inside scoop, and I'm going to give you a deal. You bet $5 in lineups, you're guaranteed $50. What that means is you play $5. Whether you win or lose that bet, you're going to have a guaranteed $50 in your account. That's prizepicks.com/inside scoop. Promo code inside scoop. Daily fantasy sports made easy.
Yeah, so I wrote it down in prep of coming on here, but I think that they could look at a quarterback. I think that Devin Brown's already announced he's going to leave after the college football playoff. I wouldn't be surprised if Lincoln Kienholz or Aaron Nolan left, which would mean Julian Sayin and incoming Tavian St. Clair are the only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. Obviously, Will Howard's graduating. So I think they could look at a veteran backup type that can provide veteran leadership, depth to that room. I think that could be somewhere they look. Obviously, we talked about running back. We talked about the offensive line. Defensive end is absolutely somewhere that they're going to look. They lose both Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau after this year. The 2 guys who are set to replace them are both going to be seniors. So I think looking for someone who can provide impact, maybe has a few years of eligibility left. There's not a lot of depth in that room. I think that that's something that they could look at. Before he committed to Oregon, Dylan Thieneman as a safety was someone that they were looking at to replace Lathan Ransom. I don't think that they need a safety, but I think if the right player is available in the portal, that is an area they can look. Same thing with cornerback. If Davison Igbinosun comes back to Ohio State, whether that's looking in the portal elsewhere or going to the NFL draft, as long as he comes back, I think that they probably hold on cornerback. But if he doesn't come back, that could be something to watch. And then maybe tight end, depending on what happens in that room with some of the depth pieces. Do they leave? Do they not? Do they bring in another tight end who can mainly block? They play a lot of 12 personnel. And I think that that's something that they might look at as well. So, Josh, to kind of go back to your original question, I mean, you add all those numbers up, you could be looking at as many as 10 to 12 additions in the portal. I tend to think it will be a little bit lower than that, maybe in the 7 to 10 range when it's all said and done, between immediate impact guys and maybe some more depth guys.
Well, Ohio State fans, talk to us. How you guys feeling? Who's your most important target in the transfer portal? Let us know. Comment section below.